am wholly convinced that one of the reasons people never really get noticed and never get promoted or opportunities to stand out is because they wittingly or unwittingly blend in with the crowd a little bit too much. So today I want to touch on finding your niche, and I'll start with first the behaviors, because I think that's probably the easiest thing to control right away. Finding your niche, basically finding ways to stand out so you don't just blend in with the herd and get glossed over. Meanwhile, other people who stand out from the crowd are getting noticed, they're getting opportunities, they're getting selected for special projects, presentations, things of that nature. So what are some things? I want to give you some practical things, and I am serious about these things. They are things that I have done and examples that I look for. So please don't discount these things. Sometimes people take a complex problem and think a complex solution needs to be in order, but it's really the opposite. If you got a complex problem, try to think of simple solutions. I'm here to give you these simple solutions. Okay, you don't have to go to Harvard Business Review for this kind of stuff, but this stuff works. So behaviorally speaking, what are some practical things that you can do to stand out and really find your niche? Look around you, okay? Look around, be observant. If everybody's walking around all smug and kind of pretentious, why don't you be the one person that's approachable and smiles at everybody and says good morning? Eventually, my dad and I, who also happens to be my mentor, were talking about this the other day. It is a natural human response that when someone smiles at you, eventually they will start smiling back. It is a natural response. It is almost an instinct. So start smiling at people. Here's a way you can practice doing this. And I got this from a podcast I was listening to a couple weeks ago, and it's really ingenious. He said, the guy I was listening to said, every time you walk through the threshold of a door, so anytime you go through a door or a corridor, kind of stand up straight, put your shoulders back, put a big smile on your face, kind of like that, and walk through the door with a big smile on your face and a confident posture. This ensures that every time you go into a new room, anybody that sees you, their first initial sight, the first time they lay eyes on you, you will have a smile and a confident posture. And I thought, wow, I'm kind of new to a company. I should just try that. And I'll tell you what, over time and doing that, it sets a, I don't want to say illusion. It's not an illusion, but it gives off this vibe that person's approachable. That's a nice person. And so you want to be observant of that. That's just one example. Another example I would give you is your dress code, how you present yourself as far as the clothes you wear. There's huge opportunities here, especially as corporations become more lax with their dress code. It's an opportunity for you not to wear a suit and tie every day if the dress code is business casual, where you can wear, jeans and a polo. Don't wear a suit and tie. You don't have to go to that extreme. The idea is just to stand out. Okay, someone famously said you don't have to be faster than the bear, just faster than the other 4 or 5 people the bear's chasing, right? I love that one. I've kind of staked my career on that. So you don't have to go to the extreme version, but people are wearing jeans and they're all torn up and their shirt's untucked and they kind of look like they just woke up. Well, why don't you present yourself a little notch above that by tucking in your shirt and wearing nicer clothes? And by the way, getting a full night's rest. The idea is just not blending in with the herd. So we all know where the herd ends up, okay? You want to stand out, you want to get noticed, you want exposure. And people a lot of times say, well, I don't have the chances that person has. I'm taking away that excuse because I'm giving you things you can do to get noticed, to be recognized, to stand out. And you just test me on this. Watch how much stuff starts flying your way when you stand out from the crowd. So there's a couple behavioral things that you can do. Another thing that's real simple. If everybody's like, oh, these meetings, they're always complaining, we don't need all these meetings. These meetings, they don't add value. Well, what can you do to start adding value? Can you start contributing something? Can you maybe start being engaged? Can you maybe have a few talking points that you want to bring up in the meeting instead of just assuming someone else will, or leaving it up to your boss so that way you can complain about him or her later? Add value. Engage, especially when other people aren't. So the whole premise is look at what other people are doing and their behaviors and try to come up with a better version of what they're doing. That will help you stand out. Now let's talk about work. There's a few different ways you can recognize a niche, and it's really based upon the same principle as the behaviors. What are things that other people just either don't like doing, they think is a complete waste of time, but that actually add value to your boss? Or maybe it's something that hasn't even been thought of, that's completely outside the box, that will help a current process be better. You constantly need to be thinking about those things. But the problem is most of us only just do what we came to work to do. Whatever's set on our plate, we just take care of it instead of really thinking strategically and analytically about what are some other ways I could maybe approach this work. When's the last idea you came up with? Do you know how powerful it is just to come up with an idea and say, hey, you know what, boss, I had this idea, and you know what, I'm sorry, I'm just spitballing here. Maybe we could do this way. Can we consider that? You know how powerful that is? It just shows that you're thinking. I like sometimes coming to work and saying, you know what, I was thinking about this last night, and I really do. I think about, sometimes I think more creatively at home in the shower in the morning or at night before bed than I do at work, because I'm not fixated on the little widget I have to take care of that day at work. So think, when you're outside of work, think about what are some ways that I can improve this. Here's another one that it may not be culturally, it may not be entwined in your culture right now, but here's something to consider. Approaching someone more senior to you and asking them, hey, would you be willing to meet once a month to mentor me and just kind of help me out? Doesn't have to be super formal. We can kind of get to know each other and doesn't have to follow any kind of real script. And then what happens in your end of year reviews? You're talking about how you have a mentor, and these are steps that before someone asks you to do it, you've done on your own. Wow! I mean, if I was managing that person, I would be super impressed by that. Someone who always has ideas, is engaged in meetings, dresses a cut above, presents himself professionally. Look, do you see where I'm going with this? These are all things that you can control. Yeah, they're basic, but you know what most people do? They're looking for rocket science. They're looking for $1 million idea. They're looking for some Harvard educated person to come in there and tell them a bunch of gobbledygook that really doesn't work. Not to diss Harvard. I mean, they're great. I read a lot of their stuff. I actually read something today that was pretty good, but it's not practical. It's just not practical. These are things you can do tomorrow. Okay? We got this. I hope this is relevant for you. I appreciate the following, guys. I am going to become the content king. I'm going to get so much content out there to you guys, you're going to have to drink through the fire hydrant to consume it all, okay? And some of it is going to be long, some of it may just be short, but I am determined to get the content out to people who need it, because everybody needs something different. So a lot of these messages, they may not be applicable to you, and maybe applicable to the person that sits next to you. Share it with a friend. I appreciate you guys. Thanks a lot. Keep tearing it up out there. Let's rock! Let's get it! Let's do this! Woo!